Hello there, Matt here, taking a look at Half-Life 2 today. This recently had its 20th anniversary, and instead of just having an anniversary sale, which they did, Valve went above and beyond and actually patched this in a fairly significant way. So as you can see, we have the base game, and episode 1 and 2 are now included just in the game. You don't need to separately download those anymore if you don't want to. Which also, sadly, for the completionists out there, this means that if you had 100% on Half-Life 2, you no longer do, because they added the achievements for episode 1 and 2 in as well. In addition to that, they added various video settings, they said, apparently, like new graphical options. I can't tell you what those are. Maybe they're in advanced here. Like, I can't tell you what the new, maybe it's new DirectX or something like that. Maybe someone who has more information than me can tell you. They also added Steam Workshop support, so you can have Hatsune Miku running along with you instead of Alex. No, I kid you not, that is actually one of the first mods up on the workshop, so, you know, very much worth the playthrough. And finally, they added developer commentary. This was something that was included with episode 1 and 2, I believe. So this is newly recorded, and it features Gabe Newell talking a lot about the development of Half-Life 2 20 years after, obviously, and he was trying to remember a lot of details and everything. If you have been in the mood to replay, this is a fantastic excuse to replay it. I'm just going to start a new game here. We're obviously not going to sit and listen to commentary. That would be a bit silly, but I highly recommend you do check it out if you were itching for a bit of Half-Life 2 in your life. If you've never played this game before, I also highly recommend you just play it, because it holds up immensely well. I do have... I guess it's just one problem I really have with this game, which is unskippable cutscenes, which is very fitting that we're starting with a cutscene, but I don't necessarily mean this one. I mean how this game loves to just lock you in a room and have people just talk to you, and you play, in case you've never played any Half-Life, you play as Gordon Freeman, and he's a silent protagonist in every meaning of the word. He doesn't say anything, and you can just do whatever you want, and everyone acknowledges that he doesn't say anything. It's not a fake voiceless protagonist, like for example Dishonored 1, fantastic game, but that had a fake voiceless protagonist, because you got to select dialogue options for Corvo, but he wouldn't actually say anything when people talked to him. It was very weird and awkward, and that's also my problem with this game. Obviously it's very iconic to have... It would be kind of crazy if Gordon was saying anything, right, after people have gotten used to Half-Life 1. But it is my biggest problem with this game, is that they just lock you in a room, they don't give you any dialogue options, nothing, and you're just standing around essentially watching a stage play happen. We'll see what I mean when we get to it in a moment. But aside from that, I kind of struggle to think what I disliked about this game, because this holds up immensely well, so much so that a lot of modern games, you'll notice, have copied a lot of these things. So we're being introduced to City 17 here. I still think this game looks fantastic as well. Even if the character models are maybe a bit, you know, obviously, whoa, and the physics can freak out a bit. I still think it still looks nice. But while I enjoy the running and shooting, when you're replaying, obviously it's not a big problem if you like the story and you're playing it for the first time, but if you don't like the story, you're just not interested, or you're replaying it like I am here, and it's like, oh, I just want to get to the gunplay and show off the gunplay to you. Nope, I am now locked in a tiny room. I have to stand here and wait for the game to exposition at me. It's my biggest problem. And as I said, you can see a lot of modern games take inspiration from this game to this day. Sorry if you can hear my cat in the background. A lot of modern games take inspiration. For example, Last of Us or Uncharted also like to just have you do the walk around and talk. Gears of War was also fairly infamous for that, where Marcus would just put two fingers up to his ears, and you would walk very slowly and just listen to them talk in something that should have probably just been a cutscene. Now, I'm willing to cut Half-Life 2 a bit more slack, because
Sorry for the scare. I had to put on a show
it
for the camera.
does it very... Valve did it with intent.
Can't take too long or they'll get suspicious.
Both in this game and the first game. Obviously, the first game had a bit more freedom to it. But it's because they shifted to wanting to tell a story, but still wanting to keep you immersed. Because as you can see, I can still walk, right? Like, I can walk around, I can pick up a bucket, I can crouch, I can jump around like a crazy person. I still have control. And it's very rare, it does happen, but it's very rare that the game takes direct control away from you. But it does take indirect control away from you. As example, I can't leave. Like, I can't just like, yeah, great guys, let me just skip the cutscene. Oh, right, I can't do that. Last of Us does that too, right? When you're first being introduced, you have the intro cutscene and then, or the introductory sequence where you play as the daughter of Joel, and then you get to play as Joel, and he is just walking with Tess, obviously, and just listening to him talk, and you're getting immersed in the world and everything, which is fine. It's not that makes the game bad, but it does make it frustrating to replay. And again, I'm going to be saying that a lot, that this only sucks on replays. Me going back here and being like, yep, let me just show off the gunplay. No. It's like, I can't. I'll have to wait for this guy to finish time. Okay, can I move now? Yep, okay, I can jump to go a bit faster, right? But Valve is clearly keeping you on a track without putting you in a cart, if that makes sense. And I would much rather have a cart ride that I could just skip, aka a cutscene. And this isn't really Valve's fault, because they did a great job with this game. Again, I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to sound like a broken record. I love this game a lot. But because it reminds me of Amnesia a lot, The Dark Descent, where a lot of indie games and horror games in general just took inspiration from Amnesia without understanding what made it so good. And instead you're just dealing with monsters chasing you, you run away and you hide like Outlast did, right? It was just, here's a monster, now run and hit a switch and then hide in a cupboard. And that became really old really quickly, because Amnesia was a masterstroke of immersion in terms of sound and music design and everything. Outlast not so much. But it's a perfect example of copying something without understanding why they did it. Because speaking of Half-Life 1 specifically, because again, this is really cool, this is really immersive, right? You have the TV of him talking, you have the people looking out nervously, you have the guards break into a room here, and that is powerful, giving you enough freedom that you get to explore and control like I'm doing right now. That's where this game is really strong. But when you're locked in a room, that's when it sucks. Because this was something that Half-Life 1 made very famous, was keeping you on a track and never letting you stray too far of it, but still giving you freedom. That's why your character was called Gordon Freeman, haha. But Valve's whole design doc of Half-Life 1 was to essentially always have some corporate overlord. If you've played Half-Life 1, you probably know which corporate overlord. Always in control of your actions and knowing exactly where you're gonna go and what you're gonna do, and making you feel like you have control. And I feel this game sort of gave up on that with the unskippable cutscenes. And yes, I'm gonna keep calling them cutscenes. I know they're not technically cutscenes, but that's what they feel like, right? Like in everything but name, they're cutscenes. Oh, I almost fell off there. That would have been nice. Ow. And again, I could have messed up there and it could have died. What would happen? It would just ask me to reload. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. And again, can't do anything. I don't have a weapon or anything.
No, you don't.
And... well, I lost my train of thought to all those stun batons. But this... I can't move right now. I can't move the camera. I have no freedom, right? It is just Alex talking directly at you in something that is essentially just a cutscene. And while it fools you, I think Yahtzee talked about this, where he said that he never felt that they were cutscenes, or he never felt frustrated or bored because you could move in the cutscenes when they lock you in a room. it wasn't good enough for me. The fact that you could fiddle with a couple of things or whatever and just wait for people to stop talking, it's better than being locked in an unskippable cutscene where you can't do anything. Resident Evil 7, for instance, again, in the name of immersion, because it was a VR game, obviously wanted to keep you in the moment, in control, however you want to put it, where you could move your head around without being able to skip the cutscenes. But guess what my least favorite parts of Resident Evil 7 are? It's when you're stuck in a chair and you're just waiting for people to finish their scripts so that you get to play the game. And as you can see, she's walking at a very specific pace to take just as much time as Valve deemed necessary. And this goes back to the point that I said that a lot of modern games use this, of you just walking and running for the sake of immersion rather than actually have a point with it when something could just as well be a cutscene, right?
Today we're finally on the verge of having a better way.
Yeah, that's great, Alex. Can you I can't do anything to speed her up.
Here, let me buy you a drink.
And it doesn't again, it's probably coming off as maybe I hate the story of the characters. Far from it, but what I'm saying is, once again, on replays, I've already experienced this. I've already played this game. I have seen all these things, and I've even messed with, you know, you can mess with this thing. So you can push a button and then, oh, and then you can do this, right? Which also serves as a form of immersion, the fact that you get to walk around and interact with things and look at them. Once again, broken record time, it is just on repeat playthroughs that I have a problem. If I could skip all this on repeats, I would not have anywhere near anything negative to talk about this game. Because, as I said, it looks good, it plays good. I will admit the combat is fairly simple, but each of the guns are very satisfying to use. They each serve a different purpose instead of just being the Call of Duty, here, have an assault rifle, why would you ever use anything other than an assault rifle? But you can see, this is all I can do while I'm waiting for them to exposition. And obviously, if you haven't played this game before, you should really play it yourself. So if you're frustrated that I'm not paying attention to the story and everything, please go play this game yourself. It's not very expensive, it's very good, it holds up very well. But this is what I mean. I obviously I haven't started a timer. You know better than me how long this section has taken. This is just this is like being at a play. Not a school play, but a play. You're just waiting for characters or actors to finish their scripts so that you get to actually play the video game. I know a lot of people hate reading in video games, which is fair. I don't necessarily think they mesh super well, reading and playing game, because one is very interactive and the other one is you sitting there just reading something, right? But it's not much different. If I'm gonna get really crazy, I don't even like cutscenes that much, because I think they're a very lazy way. There's a good moment though. Aw, yeah. Instant switch into the suit. Immersion broken. Because even cutscenes don't really mesh well with video games. Because as you can see here, even if this was just, imagine the black bars coming from the top and bottom, and this is just a cutscene, right? Even then, that would be the antithesis of what makes video games interesting, which is you getting to interact with them, you getting to play the game, you getting to make decisions, right? And I'm just standing here waiting for the game to start. And once it does, it's actually pretty cool. And you might be saying, well, Matt, again, you're being a bit overdramatic, because obviously this is just for the start of the game. They're trying to immerse you into the world, make you understand the characters if you've never played Half-Life before and so on. You're being dramatic. No, because this game is on this loop where it goes long expository cutscene, extended action sequence, long expository cutscene, extended action sequence. That is the formula that this entire game runs for. And that's where I mentioned that you'll notice a lot with modern games to this day. You know, Last of Us, Uncharted, probably too many to count. They do the exact same thing because this game was so insanely popular that it influenced video games so much. No, baby, please don't. No, baby, please.
Yes,
Cat.
yes, Eli. Bit of a hold
Cat
up
ruining
on
the
this end.
recording, please.
You'll
Sorry about
guess
that.
what found in our lab this morning.
And again, it's not that it's necessarily a bad formula, but it is
Intention to send him
the point I'm obviously harping about, because otherwise I would just say, this game is good, please go play it, which is what I started with, obviously.
Then let's do it.
But, like, I can't even lie to you, I'm bored, like, my trigger finger is itching. I'm like, yeah, I know, it's like, great, yeah, I've seen this before. But when I'm first getting into it, yeah, of course, I'm really immersed. I want to get to know these characters. Who's Alex? Like, what's her purpose in the world? What's this world like? Where am I, right? These are all the things you have on your first playthrough.
no fiddlesticks. What now?
I got it, don't worry.
Excellent.
You gonna let Gordon throw the switch?
Oh, right,
Gordon, go right ahead.
thank you.
Very
Um...
Final sequence. Commencing.
And again, like, there's like, look, Matt, you get to do things. Like, yeah, but this could just be, I could just press B and then say, like, do you want to skip this cutscene? Yes. And I wouldn't even consider unskippable cutscenes a pet peeve of mine, because I genuinely think they're bad. Like, it's not a case of me just disliking them, they're bad. Because if you want to ever replay even a story-heavy game like Mass Effect, right? Mass Effect 2, you can skip the dialogue. And guess what most people hated about Mass Effect 2? It was the unskippable intro cutscene, because it was very long before you got to your character creation. And then once you got to the character creation, you then obviously made your character, and then you started playing, and then you might find out that you didn't want to be a soldier. Back to the unskippable cutscene. I genuinely do not think I'm being unreasonable when I say that it's not a pet peeve of mine. It is a genuine problem. And again, I'm being very negative. This game is good. When you're first experiencing this game, this was incredible. I got this game for my birthday, and around release, I think it was. It was fairly new anyway. And I remember this sequence, like, it's burned into my mind because it's so memorable. It's just not that fun on a repeat. And going back to Mass Effect, obviously, with or BioWare games in general, you can just skip the dialogue, individual dialogue pieces, right? And get to the gameplay parts. And again, yeah, the most hated thing was that unskippable intro cutscene from Mass Effect 2, which is a really good intro. It's really strong. But it's just not that fun to see again and again and again and again. And that's why I hope, if you haven't played this game, that you are seriously considering playing it, because it is absolutely worth the journey. It's just not a fun journey to go on multiple times. You really see the cracks in the script, I almost want to say. It's a bit like what David Cage said about his games, Heavy Rain and stuff, where he told people to never replay his games because they break. And they do, for a different reason than this, than Half-Life. Because with Half-Life, you still have really fun, satisfying gameplay. We'll get to it. We're about to get our crowbar and a pistol. Don't worry, we're gonna have fun. And with Heavy Rain, it's obviously just a visual novel, but with every single path leading to the same thing, even if you make small micro decisions that influences things, the overall story remains the same. Barney, are you here? I need my crowbar, please. Hey, Barney.
Hey, Gordon.
Oh, look at that. Game looks great. Look at that. That's so impressive. This game is 20 years old. How does it look this cool? Anyway.
Hey, Gordon.
Yes,
That
could I have
signal's
my
on
thing?
full alert.
And again, he
Can't
repeated his line to
Get
make
out of
sure that
City
I'm in
17 as
the
fast as you
right
can,
spot
Gordon.
to talk.
Take the
You know
old
what I'm
canals,
saying? Like,
right? They'll get you
this
dry
is something
flats.
that
It's a
modern
dangerous
games
route,
just
but there's a whole
still do
network
to
of
this day. They
refugees,
love
and
to
they'll
keep you
help
on a
if
track.
they can.
And that
Come
can
with
probably
you, but I
make this
gotta
game
look after
feel
Dr. Klein.
both modern and dated
Oh,
at the same
before I
time, because
forget,
these are
you
lessons that
dropped this
developers
back
still
in Black
use to this
Mesa.
day. Thank you, Barney. Please. I'm just looking at my recording right now. It's like we've been almost 20 minutes and now I'm swinging a crowbar. Again, that's not unreasonable for a first time when you're getting into it, but on repeats, this is so damn painful. Oh god, I can't see. My thing. Hey, energy. Thank you. Oh god. And again, sick music. It's great. I apparently forgot where to go. Am I this stupid? Ow, 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 please, no. Oh yeah, I am this stupid. I went towards the gunfire, that was smart. And this again, also a fairly heavily scripted sequence, but you can die here if you get hit by a train or you take too much damage. There is certainly danger. I'm just saying that, again, now we are obviously in control with a weapon and everything. Even though it's a scripted sequence, I still find this to be engaging because there's danger, there's a loss, whereas in the cutscenes, no, not really. Oh. Hey guys! Gun please. Thank you. How do I change weapons? There we go. Yes, I'm on controller, please don't judge me. And I completely lost my train of thought. Didn't you drop a gun? Oh, thank you. Oh, why is my reload? Yes. And yeah. Now that I finally get to the gunplay, I'm in it. You can probably hear I'm quieting down because now the game is fun. Now I'm engaged again. And this goes on for a while with the extended action sequences, as I talked about. That this goes on for a while. I obviously don't have the numbers for you, but this goes on for a while. And it's fun. It's satisfying. As I said, it's not the deepest combat. You have stuff like this, some interactables. That was the big selling point when this game first came out. But ow. But it's satisfying to shoot. Like, there's good gun feedback. And you can hear their radio. You can probably hear that, hopefully. Their radio is cutting out with like a long beep, letting you know that you got him. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. And it's good. It's really good. And that's why my criticisms are dying down, because I am immediately engrossed now that I'm actually in the gameplay. Because I meant what I said at the start, that if you have not played this game, you owe it to yourself to play it. Even all these years later, it is still so much fun. It's not the deepest combat, it's not the greatest written story of all time, but it's so good. This is such a good journey. It's just not great going on, how can I say, repeats. But I would totally stand around, even with my how much I've complained about unskippable cutscenes. I would still absolutely stand around and just listen to Gabe Newell talk about the development of Half-Life 2. Like, that sounds fascinating to me. And I did listen to a couple just to make sure. Like, they are basically these little they are basically these little speech bubbles in the environment that you interact with, and more or less an MP3 just plays as you stand around. You're invulnerable to damage, I believe, while it's happening, so good design. But even if you're just here for the developer commentary, what you have to bear in mind is we live in the age of the internet, and that means that if you wanted to, you can probably just find the developer commentary online and just focus on that, and you don't have to play the game. Now, obviously it's not a punishment to play the game, but we come back to the broken record part. Like, you are just, if you've played this game before, you know the story, and you might not want to re-experience it. Maybe you don't care. Now, I know some people don't care about story at all, not the first time, you know, let alone the second or the third. And some people love to replay a story. Baldur's Gate is probably one of the highest rated games in recent years. And that has a great story, great characters, right? But what's satisfying about that, and I believe you can also skip the dialogue and cutscenes and that, what's so cool about that is obviously the different choices lead to different outcomes, Half-Life 2 is very rigid. Like, I couldn't continue along that track. You know, I'm going along the same path, doing the same things that I do on every single playthrough. If you want to do a hard mode playthrough, again, you're gonna have to sit around and watch cutscenes. It is just as simple as that. There is no escaping it.
God.
Good God.
Guess those sirens are for you, huh?
Yeah, could you open the door? And again, this is a modern game thing that's been mocked to death for Call of Duty and Battlefield, right? These modern military scripted shooters where you're just standing around waiting for your sergeant to kick open the door instead of allowing you to move. Because we got the resurgence of boomer shooters or retro shooters or throwback shooters, whatever you want to call it, that people adored, right? Dusk, Medieval, Iron Fury. And guess what? They just allow you to go and shoot.
It's bad news for the whole railroad.
But even here, I obviously praised the extended action sequences. Even here, they have to interrupt me and have some guy talk to me just so he can open the door. Why can't I just open the door myself and then move on and just have him talk? And if I want to sit around and listen to him talk, that's fine. This is even something that Rockstar, with their obsession for storytelling, they allow you to drive or ride a horse, you know, in Red Dead Redemption, as fast as you want to get to the goal, and then people will just talk to you while you're driving or riding. And if you don't want it on repeats and you're just trying to beat the mission, you're replaying the game or whatever, they don't really care. They just allow you to do whatever you want. Aww. How sad. This game does not. Now, obviously, again, I've already mentioned at the start, because of the 20th anniversary, this game is 20 years old, so this has the excuse of being really incredibly influential for its time, right? As I said, these are still lessons that people use to this day, lessons taught by this game in terms of game development, which is absolutely insane.
This is Station 8. We heard 12 go down and out.
If there's something that I can complain more about in terms of,
Protection is coming down on
I don't even know if, I'm just in the flow right now. I don't even know when I want to stop this video. And again, turret sequence. Again, we see that a lot in modern games too, right? And it's not that turret sequences are automatically are just automatically bad or anything, but they're cliche now, right? And again, this game has the excuse that it started those cliches for a lot of people. But the gunplay is still satisfying. The story is, well, maybe not the most interesting. It's solid. Uh-oh. 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 I messed up. I should not have gone down here. That was not what I was supposed to do. This is what happens when you try to play and talk. Because a problem that some people have pointed out with this game, compared to Half-Life 1 actually, which is the silent protagonist thing, it doesn't make any sense that Gordon would not respond in these cutscenes, because people directly address him. And you might be saying, well, they did in Half-Life 1 as well. Kind of. Like, they were very, I almost want to say, loose with it, of just saying, oh, Freeman, you're here. You need to do these things. Anyway, bye, right? And most of the characters in 1 you could shoot in the face if you didn't like them, which was kind of hilarious. Here, no. Your weapons get put away the moment you enter a cutscene. There is no freedom of expression that way in this game, and it is just on rails. But it's still a great experience. I probably sound overly negative, which I don't mean to. It's just, it is my biggest problem with this game. It is when you just don't get to, I almost want to say express yourself. I actually forget what I'm supposed to do here. Just hide? Oh, yeah, it was. Again, that you can tell I am being led around scripted sequences. But once you're in the action, it's actually really fun. This game is really fun. It has a lot of great design sequences. It is just a frustration on the repeats. That really is it. As I said, broken record, but look at that! Look how cool that is! I genuinely love this game. Even with all my whining about it. And as I said, this game still has the excuse of being 20 years old. Modern gaming. Less so. I don't think we're gonna get to it, but there is also various vehicle sequences in this game. Again, Valve didn't just go and say, well, this is how we're gonna do it, no change necessary, essentially, or we're just gonna lead players around like in the first game. But you get hoverboat, you get a hoverboat, and you get a car. Like, there are cool sequences. And obviously, the very famous gravity gun, like, how could I forget? Which played around with the whole physics engine that they made for this. And it is still impressive, especially when you consider the age, how well this holds up. And maybe I'm just more... Wow. And maybe I'm just more mad that modern games didn't evolve this formula? Maybe, like, even obviously Half-Life Episode 1 and 2 didn't either, but they were more episodic games, so that would be a bit unfair to demand. And I haven't played Alex. I sadly do not have the money for a VR headset, so I don't know if Valve did anything really game-changing with that. But to this day, I do not like unskippable cutscenes. Whether they're fake cutscenes like in this, or real unskippable cutscenes, I suppose, like in Resident Evil 7. They fixed it in Village, though. And... Oh god, oh god. And I think it speaks volumes to Valve's design, not just how well this holds up. But despite me viciously hating unskippable cutscenes to the point that I don't want to replay games. Not play, but replay games that have them. The fact that I'm even sitting here and not just doing a video, but being like, yeah, this game's still good. It speaks volumes to how fun this game still is, right? And here's a seesaw puzzle because they want to show off their physics. I understand why these were made, obviously, to show off the Source engine. I don't think they're particularly good. Wow. Did I seriously now go off multiple break? I sure did. I am very bad. Because doing this is not like all that interesting. It's fine, but not all that interesting. Oh, there we go. Woo. Yeah, maybe I should just end it there. Oh, oh, oh. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, that's mean putting that there. Also, that was a waste of ammo. But I suppose it comes back to modern gaming in general, and just this overlay. I feel a lot of people have actually turned against this particular way of game design, if that makes sense. As in, nowadays people want... Well, people think that modern games, or people think they want open world, right? That's the solution to avoiding scripted sequences, which it isn't, because even if you look at Breath of the Wild, right? Good game. I have some problems with it, but good game. Even that has scripted sequences in terms of the boss battles, I should say. They will obviously pop into cutscenes. Well, yeah, they will have a cutscene at 50% health and maybe change some mechanics around, whatever. And then you'll go right back to fighting very specifically in a scripted sequence that the boss demands you to fight in, right? And that doesn't necessarily make for an interesting experience, right? It doesn't just guarantee that just because Breath of the Wild is and the battery for the suit, yeah. It doesn't guarantee that just because you have an open world game that nothing will be scripted, right? That you'll have complete freedom. Absolutely not. Even Breath of the Wild that tried so hard to let you crawl, climb on everything, right? And solve puzzles in the ways you wanted to solve them. A lot of the time that's not true. Like, you don't get to do that. And while it certainly isn't as scripted, and I almost want to say handholdy as this game is, you see, like, this is straight up just a hallway. That doesn't necessarily make this game, or games like Uncharted or Last of Us, which are very linear, obviously, it doesn't make them bad games. It just means that replays suffer from lack of freedom. And I should point out that I do like this. I mean, if you look at Dusk, for instance, Dusk is also fairly linear. It doesn't really have cutscenes and allows you to go however you want, but it still has linear levels, right? Okay. Again, I'm having fun. I'm immersed, and then this happens, right? Unskippable cutscene. Yeah.
Now they're flooding the areas up ahead with manhacks. You better get going before they sweep through here.
Mm-hmm. I would love to get going. What are you doing? What are you doing, bro? Get out of my way. I don't remember him getting involved. Hey, brother.
Close call. Thanks for your help.
Yeah, sure. Nope, shouldn't have done that, I guess.
I'll give you some supplies to keep you going, and you really got.
Now, you know what? I'm not even gonna stand right. Perfect example. Yeah, that was a perfect sequence. He's gonna give me some supplies because I managed to save him, and I don't care to stand around and listen to him freaking finish talking. Absolutely not. Like, that should be a clear indicator. That is actually maybe a perfect time to stop. Like, thanks for your help. I'll give you some supplies. No, I can't be bothered to stand around and wait for you to do an unlocking sequence. Absolutely not. Good lord. Yeah, I think that's Half-Life 2. It's still a good game. I think you're going to have a great time with it the first time through. If you've been thinking about a replay, I think the developer commentary from Gabe Newell is interesting enough to keep you going. But good lord, man. I can't stand the the unskippable cutscenes. I cannot deal. Anyway, if you made it through the end of the video, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Alright, bye. Have a nice day.